Welcome everyone. I'm going to edit another photo here. Um, Starting with its base image here. This is the raw image as it was shot by the camera. You can see raw settings, just kind of dull, flat, if you want to call it flat. But I liked her pose, and so you know, livening up the image is part of what we're going to do today. Um, I've already experimented with some of my global settings. Um, and so I'm going to paste those in so you can see, and just so you have a chance to see. These are the kind of settings that I'd already copied: white balance, uh, basic tone stuff, tone curve. I usually put about a plus 15, minus 15 tone curve in generally. Clarity, sharpening, um, kind of saturation, vibrance, color adjustments, basically everything, copy everything in except for the local adjustments from like the brush, graduated filters, and radial filters. Those are specific to each image. Spot removal is also specific to each image. And then the crop, usually don't want to copy the crop. Most images are as shot, but every now and then I might crop in or whatever. Don't want to copy that kind of stuff. So these are generally the things that we would copy. Anyway, I had already done that. So pasted it in from the beginning image, the raw image, to this is kind of adjusting for um, all of those global settings and getting an image that's a little less flat, has a little bit more contrast. You can see that it also added in a little bit of exposure correction. The original image was a little on the dark side, so added in a little extra exposure. Um, Here's the tone curve I was talking about. Generally add in like plus 15 on the lights and minus 15 on the darks. Just gives it a little bit of extra contrast. Um, Lens correction, a little bit of a vignette around the corners. We'll probably add some more extra vignetting, if you want to call it that, just with some radial filters at the end. You'll see that when I get there. So first step I do is usually start working on the facial features. Usually just like teeth whitening. In this case, her smile is not showing teeth or anything, so don't have to do any teeth whitening there. But I generally use the teeth whitening brush on the eyes as well, just to make the whites of the eyes just a little bit whiter, makes them stand out just a little bit more. So I usually go through and just hit the white areas here a little bit. It has a auto mask on the brush that helps stay in the lines a little bit, but it doesn't always do the greatest job. So I'll come in with an eraser tool afterwards and just kind of erase some of that area that I painted in that is over, like outside the white area. Just take a few seconds here and kind of clean up the strokes that I did here. And then this is really where it started to spill over. Just erase away the area that you don't want the green areas representing where the brush stroke was. Just erase that away. And then when you're done, you can real quickly, I can jump back to before I started doing the edits. You can see what the white looks like here, and then after adding that, it just makes the whites a little brighter, a little whiter, takes down the saturation of them a little bit. After that, um, if I need to, I have tools for like eyelashes and eyebrows, irises. I've generally found that with darker eyebrows and eyelashes and stuff, it's not that much of an extra bonus. And like darker darker irises like brown irises don't seem to get as much benefit from the iris tool. The iris tool works better for like lighter eyes like blue, green, amber, colors like that. So then I'll switch over to the spot removal tool here and just start trying to take care of just some of these skin blemishes. This process can take the longest out of the entire process, depending on the model, depending on the image. Sometimes it's a little easier, sometimes it's a little worse, or takes a little bit more time rather. I guess some photographers might just go in with like a softened brush, and I do have a skin softened brush if I think I need it, but I don't know. I prefer to take the extra time to just, take out each of the little blemish areas by hand with a spot removal tool like this, and and try and let as much of the original skin texture through as possible. It's not saying that it's better or worse than, like skin softening. It's just, I guess, my preference. So just bear with me. This process here can take a little while. Depending on how long the video is, sometimes I'll edit this part out, like just cut out some of this extra spot removals, but I'm gonna try and do it as fast as I can and keep the video to an okay length. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit the high parts, and I might come back after the video's over and touch up some of these areas, because sometimes I'll spend probably longer than I probably should just trying to get them to look, especially like under the eyes here and stuff, just trying to get this area to look the way that I want it to look. So this probably will not be perfect, or what I would consider like the final level, but let me just hit some of the high points here, and so I can get this video done. This spot here on her lip can be a little tricky at times, but just try and highlight the area that I want to correct a little bit, and then try and find another area here of the lip that will blend it out pretty good. That's not too bad. Okay. go to a wider filter here, a wider zoom here. Just kind of hit the high points. Zoom in here on her chest because I noticed there's a scratch. Scratch across her skin right here. And then there's another one right over here. When you're doing something like this, I just have to make sure that, you know, the overlap here is about correct. Otherwise, it can mess up a little bit. Go back out to the wider angle. It's looking pretty good. See one little spot here. Take that out. Okay. Okay, so like I said, I'll probably come back after the video and do a little bit more touch up on the spot removal, so that gives you an idea of how the process works. And so the last step that I do after I kind of, you know, get the spot removals where I want is come in with some dodging and burning. And I've, you know, originally years ago I was trying to use a brush tool to do the dodging and burning, but I learned a little trick from some other great photographers off of YouTube, and I started using radial filters, and I love the way the radial filters work. They just seem to do such a better job. So I usually start with some burn tools here and just kind of come in and try and close off the image a little bit. You can see the image gets the background just gets a little bit darker. And this is where I was saying like how we enhance kind of that vignette. My global settings, I put in a little bit of a like maybe about a 10 or 20% vignette around the outside of the image to help close it off and focus people's attention to the center. But the radial burn tool coming in, and to me it just helps you know, close off that image a little bit more. We'll do something similar down here just to kind of close off the bottom here a little bit. Probably come in now with some dodge filters, and probably put one dodge filter just on her torso area here, just to brighten that up just a little bit more. And might be a little bit too much on her face. We'll see. Add a little bit of a dodge to her face here. Might take that down just a little bit. Exposure. Just a little bit lower. And then come here on our eye sockets. Eye sockets usually require a little bit of extra light on them. When I do a shoot like this, I'm bouncing the light off the ceiling. So just a standard, you know, ceiling bounce light setup. which gives a nice even, a more even light for the scene. But it also means that the eye sockets, because the light's coming from above, the eye sockets can be just a little bit on the dark side. So it's not hard to just add in a little bit of extra light with a radial feature like this. Okay, so let me zoom back out. So that's should be getting pretty close. I'm sure I'll come in. I might real quickly before I had this burn tool at the bottom here, but I might take that on up just a little bit more. And the reason why is that hand was a little bit on the bright side. She's also got a little bit of a highlight on her arm here that I might try and knock down just a little bit. I don't want to do it too much. Just throw a filter in like this. And instead of it being a negative 0.3 exposure, I might take that down to like half of that, like 0.15. Just so the highlight's still a little bit there, but just a little bit lower than where it was. If I go back a few steps before I added that filter, you can see how it's a little brighter in this area. And then that just knocks it down just a smidge. And I might come back in. Let's see if I add another. This might be a little bit too much, but if I put just a little bit more light, maybe something like that. We'll see. I'll think about it after I get done with this video, and I might tweak that just a little bit more. Here we can see kind of the beginning and the end. So this is the original image as shot by the camera, what we call kind of the raw data. And as I was saying, like raw, it shoots really flat. It's just capturing the data as the camera sees it without doing any kind of manipulation in the camera. And then that gives me the most flexibility because it captures all of the data for all of the different, parameters of each pixel, for brightness, hue, saturation, all that stuff. And it gives you the most flexibility in post to come in and edit. Like I said, I might come back in. The face might be just still a little bit too much on the bright side. I might even need to take that filter completely off. I might need to balance this area here of the image a little bit better. But generally should be pretty close. So once again, this should be the final image, or pretty close to the final image here. I don't like this little area up here. So you can use a spot removal tool. Come in and just swipe across here about like right there. And just let it pick an area of that background like that. Yep, that should have gotten rid of that little sliver going across there. It's not quite as distracting as it was. Okay, I appreciate everyone taking the time to check out my channel. Hope to continue to give more videos in the future. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.